Hello, welcome to another Minecraft video, and nope, we are not in the survival world today because I wanted to try and build a automatic potion brewer, and you can see I've already gotten started, so I gotta catch you up on some stuff. I decided to design the UI without you all because I'm selfish, and also I didn't record that part. But anyway, this is what was going on. I was in my Minecraft survival world, and I said, man, we've got all this sorting for all these systems, we've got an automatic smelter right here. We've even got some automatic crafting systems, but there's still no way to get potions. And every time I want potions, I've got to go into this brewing stand and craft them manually, which is no fun. So I thought, why not design a system that can automatically brew all the potions for us with no questions asked? And that brings us to the creative testing world, where, as I said before, I've already started to do some designing. This is a multi-button selector panel. It is a super old one made by Etho like a billion years ago. But my goal is that will allow us to select whatever potion we want. But then we also have some modifiers. You see, you can add redstone or glowstone, one or the other. And then you can also add gunpowder to make it a splash potion. And then you can add dragon's breath on top of the gunpowder to make it a lingering potion. And that is going to be a little complicated because some of this order matters. The gunpowder has to come before the lingering. The other thing is that nether wart always has to come first. So there will be some timing things we'll have to work out later. But for now, all I have is Etho's multi-button selector panel. So first I want to work on the machine itself. We need brewing stands. And brewer stands are pretty interesting because you can have things go in the side and in the top. For instance, things like gunpowder and all the brewing stuff needs to go in the top hopper. Then we need blaze powder to go into one of the sides. And in the last hopper, we need water bottles. And they just got sucked out by the hopper, which means we need to lock this hopper and only this hopper. We're just gonna power it like this. Yeah. Now if we put the water bottles in, they should be able to brew, release that signal for a certain amount of time, and that will allow the potions to come out of there and into this barrel. But at the same time, if there are potions in the top, then they're just going to flow through once this thing gets unlocked. So we need to also lock this hopper when the bottom is unlocked. And we can do that just by negating the signal up here, like this. Now this hopper's locked. And when we flick this, now the bottom's locked. When it just fills back up. Then we can flick this lever, which allows those thick potions to come through without also letting all the other potions go through as well. And then when we flick this back again, that will allow all the new water bottles to come back in. But we just don't want to make 3 potions. We want to make 27 of them because my goal is to fill up a full shulker box full of potions. Which means we need 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I knew I made one too many. Let's just take the output of all of these. And at the very end, we'll have them go into a shulker loader. This dispenser's gonna let us shoot out shulker boxes. And then a shulker output like that. And then fill up a barrel all the way to give it a signal strength of 15. Now, if you take an item out, this won't give off a signal, but when it's full, it will give off a signal. A signal that we can then take. Oh no, I hate quasi-connectivity. Okay, here's the shulker loader. So we got a little system where when the shulker box fills up, this comparator will send a signal to the piston, which will push the observer and break the shulker box. And the shulker box will get pushed above this hopper, which will pick it up and put it into this chest. Then when the piston retracts, this observer will power this block, which is next to the dropper, which will let the dropper shoot out another shulker box. So that's the plan, but there's a lot more complex work to be done. So let's start with what we already started on, the water bottles. We gotta put water bottles into this hopper and all of these other hoppers here. Okay, simplified the input a little bit, but it should still work the same. And now we need to figure out how to get water bottles into these hoppers. But we're going to be lazy about it and just make a hopper line, which shouldn't be too bad because water bottles don't stack, but we will have to work on how to actually get water into the water bottles because just storing a bunch of water bottles on their own will be pretty difficult to get a lot of them. So what we're going to do is have a dispenser going into some water, and then we want a clock to get this dispenser to only pulse when we want it to. We're going to have this going into a torch. That is very fast. Let's go back to normal speed. So we need to actually put some bottles into this dispenser, but I don't actually want to craft bottles because that's kind of annoying. So instead, we're going to craft them with a crafter. Like that. So now we can, let's read this barrel and say when this barrel is empty, we want to craft more bottles. I always forget to set the crafting recipe first. There we go. Okay. So first things first, got materials going to here. Now we want this crafter to start crafting, and let's do that with a torch. Okay, so the idea with this little clock is that when this barrel empties, it'll turn this comparator off, which will then turn this torch on, which will turn on the crafter, which will shoot items into the barrel, which will again turn the comparator off, which will turn the torch on, which blah, 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 blah. It'll go in an infinite loop. So that gets bottles to our dispenser, and now this thing should be able to spit out. Okay, I don't like that at all. And this dispenser has to be completely filled up, so the water bottles will go down into the item hopper. Okay, I'm not sure why I went for this form factor, but it is working. That's really all I care about. And it looks like things are getting shot into the hopper line. Oh, it just stopped. What is that? Are we full? Yes, we got water bottles up to there and the system stopped. So that is the water bottle portion done. But shulker boxes, just like the water bottles, are very annoying to store because they don't stack. So let's craft some more of them. We want these to be orange dyed so they look cool. And fashion is like 99% of this game. Or is that Dark Souls? But anyway, we need 3 main ingredients for these shulker boxes. We need shulker shells. Then we also need another one to craft wood in planks. And we're gonna need some orange dye. So I don't even know how you get orange dye in the game. Bam. That's how it's gonna work. Now we just gotta do the redstone, which is gonna be kind of complicated. So what if we just power this middle piston? Will this happen in the right order? Oh, okay. The shulker box gets ejected that way, which means we cannot power this middle one first. Now I think this will work. Fire. We still have a shulker box in there, and the shulker box crafted. And then we've just got to move the wood to there, and then we could use the same torch to power everything. Now in this configuration, it should craft everything. There we go. Next, let's do the blaze powder. This is where things get difficult. And the answer, surprise, surprise, is minecarts. We're just going to have a minecart go vroom across this line. And blaze powder lasts up to 10 different potions. So if we just give a new blaze powder every single run, we'll eventually start overflowing on blaze powder a little bit. But that's fine with me. I'm not too worried about wasting a few blaze powder. And it won't be a waste because eventually they will all get used. But how is this actually going to work? We're going to have a thing like this. Scaffolding right here, and I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, if we get a chest minecart and we put it, that's not a chest minecart. Take a chest minecart, if we hit that button, and it has 1 in it, so I think that glitch is just a visual glitch. And then all we need is a hopper into that, which we can use to do the blaze powder. We're gonna need another crafter somewhere along this line, probably right here. And that is this system. Great. All I gotta figure out now is how to actually send the minecart at the beginning of each day, but that should be pretty simple. And finally, we're on to the main exhibition, how to get materials into here, into the top area. You know, that's all our nether wart and our redstone and stuff like that, and that is not going to be easy, but we're gonna try and do something very similar. And we need some water. This has got to go. We're gonna need a scaffolding because the rail can go through scaffolding. Just gotta break that, do that, put that back like that, and now it'll flow that way. Now all we need to do is figure out how to get the brewing materials into a minecart, and my idea is pretty simple, which is that with the correct timings we can get a dropper to fire exactly 9 items into a hopper, which can fill the minecart. And as long as we do that in the right order, then we should just be able to push this minecart in a loop like so. Those materials should end up in here, and then once we put in the water bottles, they'll start brewing, and once they start brewing, this machine will start spewing out new bottles, and you heard the brewing is done. And so once that happens, we can flick this switch, which will put all the awkward potions we just brewed into here. They will start filling up here, and then, yeah. But I forgot to actually finish the shulker box machine. I didn't actually give it an input. All right, another disgusting looking clock here. So finally we can get started on the material input. So here goes nothing. So I'm going with this system where we're going to fill it up over here, right? And then once it's completely full, we can send it off like so. And then once it gets to here, we can have this switch. So it'll say, okay, there's more items in it. Then it'll go back to the loop. But if it reaches this point and it says, oh, there's no more items in it, then it'll go back to the start. So by default, it looks like the track goes this way. So let's say, let's do this. And then this and this. So if this turns on, that's going to get powered. So we push this one across. Oh, then it goes that way. Let's put some items in it though. And then let's see what happens. That switches, and it is enough to go this way. That's all we need. And there actually is one more small caveat, which is that we need to have a different enter and exit lane, because when we exit, I want it to go over a detector rail, which will say, okay, that we're done, and basically send a signal that everything is done. When it's done, then we want to trigger this system to empty out the finished brewing stand things for just long enough that the 3 bottles are able to exit and go down to this hopper. So how we're going to do that? We can do that with a little pulse extender like this, and this is going to extend that pulse, as you see, for a little while. That is going to give this system enough time to empty out all of the bottles and whatnot. So we'll just invert that, do it in there, and there we go. Bonk. That should get rid of everything, and then they fill back up. The water bottle machine turns back on, and let's look. Water bottles are going into the shulker, and there are no extras, which means we got exactly 27, and our water bottles came out all dandy. Then the input system can just ride right on top of the output system. Let's try this. Okay, that one seemed to work. So now we're back over here at the UI section of the place, because we now need to figure out how to actually get the items into that chest over there. You know, we can basically fill this minecart chest up anywhere and then send it over to that machine. So let's work on that. To start, there are a couple things we need to do. For one, right now we're able to select either redstone and glowstone at the same time, which is impossible. You are only able to select one at a time. And I don't know how to build a button selector panel with the copper bulbs, so I'm just gonna look one up. This is a button selector panel, which is cool because it's the same. It's similar to this one over here, except it has one extra feature because it uses copper bulbs. If you hit the same one again, it'll deselect both options, which you can't do on this one. And this circuit is pretty big. I could not figure out how to make it myself, so I looked up a tutorial, and it's kind of big, but it does what I want to do, and it's the only one I kind of found. So yeah. The next circuit is going to be way easier. We have gunpowder or lingering bottles, and what we need to do is gunpowder can basically just run on its own, right? We just have this, and then that goes into the thing, which goes into a thing, which goes to the thing. And then this torch will tell the gunpowder if it's on or off. However, lingering potions, we will also turn on gunpowder because you need to make a splash potion first before you make a gunpowder potion. So when the lingering potion is active, we also need to turn on this other signal over here, which kind of looks something like this. That little circuit down here will make it so when we press this button, and that comparator is on, both the torches come on. So now we have all of the selections ready to go, and we just need to actually dispense the items. So now all we need to do is come up with a clock that will tick exactly 9 times. So let's make the clock first, and let's see how many items this produces. 3. Okay, so we definitely need a longer clock than that. 10. Okay, that was very close. So all we gotta do is shorten this pulse by 1. 9. There it is. 9. So it's exactly that. This system is going to work. Okay, so first let's make an RS NOR latch, which will start our system. And so we're just gonna put an item in here and say bank. When this button is pressed, it should move the item over here, and that will be our indicator that the brewer is live. Make sure it doesn't interfere with any of the other redstone. Okay, now the light stays on when we press that button. However, because of QC, it's also powering that, which is really freaking annoying. So instead we move the dropper a little bit and this should work. Button, light goes on, it stays on, everything is dandy. Now, where do I actually want the input chest to go? I decided to just go with a simple roof solution where the items will just get spewed into a water stream along this roof and then go out. Next, we gotta add these target blocks. Get all of this in like that. This guy right here is the exception. That's the dragon's breath. So that's gotta actually have a little bit of a delay on it. We can test that. But anyway, the clock is going to start. Yeah, we'll make it back here. And input on 4 ticks. And then we're gonna make a little observer chain here. And that should be it. Let's see if it actually drops out 9 items. 7, 8. 8. There we go. Okay, for some reason the timing was different, and I have one more question, which is, does this... Nope, that doesn't actually do anything. Whatever. Hopefully that is a long enough delay. Alright, what is the next step? Collecting all of these materials. And the water stops there. Gonna need the copper bulb. We're gonna use the water dispenser trick. The hard part is gonna be filling all these things up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we still need another hopper, which is to give the nether wart. We're going to do the nether wart separately because it needs to go first. Next, the minecart goes there. Now we need a clock or a little pulse up. And I've decided I'm not really worried about size of this thing. I think it's going to be pretty big regardless. So why worry about it? Let's just try and get this thing working first. Doot. And then doot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And then we just hope this thing works. There are a couple more features we need. One of them is getting this like that so it doesn't turn on that lamp. Wait a minute, this lamp is useless. That is definitely interesting. I counted wrong, but now we need items, and that is going to be scary. Let's start with another wart in here. So I totally forgot about our button selector panel and attaching that to the dropper line. So originally we had this top dropper line, which was flashing on and off and allowing every single dropper to drop their items. But what we want is only the dropper we've selected to drop their item. So I've added this system here, which basically powers all of the droppers that we don't want to drop anything. So those droppers will always be in the powered state, except for the dropper we want to fire. So when we select that dropper, as you see, this redstone line turns off, which stops the dropper from being powered, except by this top line, which will then start flashing, and then only this dropper will fire when the clock goes off. Finally, not every single potion can use redstone and glowstone. Some of them can only use glowstone, some of them can only use redstone, and some can use neither. So we need ways to shut off the ability to get redstone and glowstone. And so you see that's what I've done here. I've made this extra line that we can attach to certain inputs that will basically send a signal to, this one's for glowstone, to the glowstone input and basically shut off this torch forever. And glowstone will not be able to be dispensed even if this is selected. And that way there will always be a failsafe, even if you don't know the recipe and what you can or can't add glowstone to. And I made these wrong. This is supposed to be redstone and the other one's supposed to be glowstone. But besides that, we now have to hook up the redstone and the glowstone to all of the inputs. But in order to do that, we need to know which potion is going to go where on the selection panel. So that is what we're going to do next. And we're back, and we've got all the potions in the order I want them to be. And there's a specific reason we have them in this kind of order, or at least some of them. You see, some potions you need to use weakness in order to change that potion to the other type of potion, which means we need to actually make that weakness and dispense it in a certain spot. So basically, we need to make sure that weakness always gets dispensed after the main crafting ingredient, and we can do that very simply by adding it right here at the end and just add a little bit of delay. That also means that we don't need dispensers for some of these other ones. And then the last thing we need to do is just send a signal which locks this dropper. And I think we should be able to fit that in right here. For instance, if we have a potion of night vision, we can use a fermented spider eye to turn it into a potion of invisibility, which means if we want this potion of invisibility to work, we first need to brew a potion of night vision and then give it a spider eye on top of that, which means we need a little bit more logic. If potion of invisibility is selected, we can come right around here like that, and then get a little repeater to power this next chest, which will craft the potion of night vision. Then all we need to do is get a new color of wool. Let's use brown for the weakness, and I'm going to change this to brown. Let's try that. So that will tell the weakness dropper to turn on, but the circuit is going to have to continue along the back because it's got to connect with a couple other potions as well. Let's work on this one. And ideally, I don't like how far back this goes, so... And the answer to that question is to use glass, because glass can only travel one way. Speed. As you see, that powers this dust, but on glass, dust cannot travel downwards, and so that's how we're going to do this one-way turning on and off thing. And I can also edit this one to use that as well. Now when we turn on the slowness again, this will light up and we'll get that signal over to our weakness dropper. Pretty epic. We need to do the same thing with harming, potion of weakness, and that should be all of them. That also means we don't need a dispenser here. And then let's do these two lines. For instance, invisibility can use redstone, but it can't become invisibility too, which means it can't take glowstone, which means we have to connect it to another line. It's getting very, very complicated. I'm not sure I like it. Because now I need to have the redstone line, and I'm moving the glowstone line like this, and that should still work. Then over here, we should be able to connect everything up like that. Weakness does not take glowstone. Okay. Actually, how is this line getting powered right now? This should not be powered. Water bottles you cannot do anything with, so that will attach to both lines. And infestation can't take anything either. And you know, this is way too complicated. It would be much easier just to move some of the potions themselves. Weaving there, oozing there. Luckily, all of these guys down here should just go to both. That looks good. Alright, we need to do even more stuff. We need another line that blocks, because sometimes we don't want nether wart to be dispensed. So we need a line to block nether wart without destroying any of the redstone we already have. Let's add that. And then there's only a select few potions that we need to do this for. We need to do it for weakness, thick potions, and water bottles. So be over here, just so it doesn't interfere. Awkward potions and water bottles both don't need dispensers. And if I'm crafting more than a double chest worth of potions for any of these, then I'm probably crazy, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Actually, let's work on this return station just a little so it goes on the one system. Will this have enough force? Let's see. It goes over there. Comes back up and array. Okay. Okay, back to what I was trying to do before. So if we put it here, that kind of makes the footprint weird, but not that weird. We can move it a little bit this way, and that should be fine. Could that possibly be everything? Of course, no, it's not. We need to actually handle the reset. Okay, that's one more thing. Let's get ourselves a copper bulb, and we basically just need to fire an observer right into this dropper right here, which will drop the item back into this to tell the system that it's done. We just gotta hope that nothing else can power these rails. There we go. And then of course we actually need to receive our items, so I'm gonna put that right here. And then we just need to get this barrel over to the other place. Things are getting messier. Okay, that works, except we don't need that because I think this should work with QC. Shaders are back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now when a shulker box is finished, it will break, it'll get dispensed, it'll go up the elevator and into this barrel. Excellent. Is there anything else we need to do? I'm just going to put some finishing touches on this thing. Okay, the thing is done, and I think by the time you build this in a survivor world, you'll have wasted about 10 times more time than actually just brewing the potions you need. But the point is, this thing is finished. You can brew everything, and it's semi-automatic. Of course, you still have to put the materials in the top here. You still have to put nether wart over here, and then there's some optional things for blaze rods and crafting shulker boxes. Let's try it out for the first time. What if we want to make a potion of healing? It looks like the multi-item selector panel is working correctly, so let's give it healing 2. Let's make it a splash potion. Whoa, that didn't sound good. That thing that just got powered right here powered this rail, which powered this observer, so that obviously cannot be there. Fortunately, we could just move it down a little bit to right here. Things are getting dispensed like they should. Okay, excellent. Oh, there's no minecart there. The minecart went way too early. Why did that happen? I see the problem here. So this will launch the minecart immediately, but what we want to do is wait for the minecart. So what we can do instead is do a monostable circuit, and hopefully that should create a 1-tick pulse after 64 items have gone through this machine, which should be more than enough time for 45 items to go from this hopper into this minecart with chest. All right, let's try that again. And if we look up into the ceiling, we should see the items start to flow out. Okay, I did the monostable circuit backwards. Now it should be an actual falling edge circuit. Actually, there is still one thing we need to do, which is get this minecart to send the blaze powder off there. And why don't we just do that with the same line over here? And now the minecart should run every single time that we start a new potion. These should be finishing up any second now. The minecart should be about to head back home, which will start that timer. The items are filling up oh gosh, why are there water bottles? Well, we can remedy that with just a little bit of delay, I think. So, okay, these two are just backwards. So I think we can fix that by getting rid of these two boxes we've been broken and sent up. That looks like what I want. Oh, I also want it to be a lingering potion though, and that did not seem to work. And that's because this is not connected. Let's run it back. Okay, so Potion of the Turtle Master is a little different. How did a turtle shell get before the nether wart? That is very concerning. In order to remedy that, I think I'm going to put powdered snow on some of these, and then I can also increase the delay on this just a little bit, and then hopefully that allows this dispenser to dispense faster into there. Here's the thing, if you want turtle potions, then you're gonna have to do everything manually. I had this system here, so you could put your items in like this. This is a trap chest, so you can move things around, and then just don't close your inventory while you're doing it. Yeah. And then when you want the minecart to go, you can press this button. So don't mess with the manual input. All you gotta do is put in 9 nether warts, and then put the turtle shells, and then the glowstone dust, and then the gunpowder. Or you could do it in another order. Just make sure that the glowstone comes after the turtle shells, basically. And everything is there. Now this should work. Let's hope it's on super fast mode so I don't have to wait forever. And adding this observation deck up top was definitely pretty sick. But it looks like it's done. There goes this thing. And let's see. There we go. Splash potions of the Turtle Master. Let's go. Just a few last minute changes here. So before we had a clock crafting shulker boxes, whenever the stock ran below this hopper line, which meant there were a ton of buffer shulker boxes, and shulker boxes are pretty expensive, so we want to avoid that. So instead, whenever the shulker box loader gets activated, it will send a pulse over to the crafter instead, which is much simpler and also means we don't need any buffer items except for a couple in the dispenser, just in case. Another change is that the minecart going in and out system was changed. So before we had two tracks, we had one that went in and then another one that went out. Now there's one track, and it just goes over the detector rail twice. But we use a copper bulb, which changes the signal. And that signal is used to toggle which of these two hoppers are locked. So in the off state, the top hopper is locked, meaning no water bottles go into the brewing stand. When the machine turns on, that toggles so the bottom hopper is locked, allowing water bottles to go in. And then once the minecart leaves, that toggles again, allowing the bottles to go through, and meaning we don't have to rely on a pulse timing. Now back to the video. And well, that's the build. Everything works now. We have all of our potions. Screw Potion of the Turtle Master, but we even found a workaround for that. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was entertaining to see someone's building process for this type of contraption. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.